Joining us now in our book talk segment, great to welcome one of the co-authors of a new book out, as it's kind of timely for beginning of a new year. People think of a lot of things, and one of them is perhaps losing weight. And this is a book that tells the story of two men who are very well-known economists in the world, and they put a book together called The Economists Diet, a surprising formula for losing weight and keeping it off. We're joined today by one of the co-authors, Rob Barnett. He's based in London, England now, so he joined us from overseas. And Rob, good to talk with you. How are you today?
Pleasure to join you. Doing just great.
Yeah, good to have a chance to chat with you. I should have mentioned both of you either have worked for Bloomberg, right? Bloomberg Intelligence and Bloomberg Media. So that's kind of your vocation is The Economist. That's the title of the book. But this kind of tells your story, along with Christopher Payne, of losing weight together. Did you know each other for a long time before you put this together?
Yeah, Chris and I have known each other about 7 years, and that's right. We, in our day jobs, we have a very different focus. I spend my time looking at the political economy of fossil fuels, so how government might affect the energy sector. But the book is really a passion project of ours, because we, even though our day jobs are quite wonky, quite in the numbers, we are both individuals who have lost a significant amount of weight. I used to be 250 pounds at my peak weight. I'm more than 70 pounds lighter today. And we really applied our some data and economic principles to our thinking on weight loss, and we wanted to share with the world what we had achieved and how we did it.
Did you and Christopher kind of compare notes as far as you both felt you were putting on too much weight, maybe kind of a sedentary job where you're behind a computer a lot or doing a lot of research? Is that kind of how it started, or how did you kind of get together and say, hey, let's both write about our experiences?
Well, so Chris's weight loss journey started before mine did. So he has been slimmed down for over a decade now.
Right.
And he was there with me side by side when I finally made the decision to lose weight. And speaking of the Bloomberg media empire, I'd gone on TV to talk about the Keystone Pipeline of all things.
Oh, sure.
And I was sitting there reflecting on it, and I was talking about it with Chris. And one of the things I reflected on was, man, I've really gotten fat. And he kind of gave me some tough love at that moment. We had a good conversation, and in some sense he helped inspire me, and then we ended up using a lot of the same techniques that we've summarized in the book.
And kind of having a chance to read through the book since I got it the other day, you really kind of break it down almost as an economist would. I guess you would do that, because that's what both of you have studied and are, but you break it down, and I guess that's what people really want to know. I mean, everybody can say, oh, eat less and exercise more, but there's a little bit more to it than that, right? Particularly when you want to lose a lot of weight.
Absolutely. Look, at the end of the day, there's no secret what has caused the obesity epidemic in America and, frankly, the rest of the world, at least in our view. So Chris and I were subject to the same things that everyone else was, but as our income as a society has gone up, as our GDP per capita has increased, the amount of food consumption we have taken has gone up in lockstep with it. So we're really, the problem is the overconsumption of food. And so we really tried to tackle that and say, well, how would a behavioral economist tackle this propensity that we have to overeat? Because there's no economic constraint holding most of us back. I mean, obviously there's some people in certain parts of the world who are in dire poverty, but most of the people listening to this program, or here in the United States and the developed world, it's about training yourself to eat less. What we would say is the fundamental starting place for that is to go out and get yourself a scale if you don't have it, and stand on it every morning. Because if you can't measure it, you can't control it. You're not trying to control calories. You're not trying to control the amount of fat in your food, etc. The thing that you want to measure, the thing you have to have laser-like precision on, is what you weigh on the scale every morning. And I promise you that you'll see your behavior reflected on the scale, up or down, depending on whether you eat too much or eat too little.
Yeah, I like that. That's one of your tenets there. Embrace scarcity by stepping on the scale every day, and that gives you that discipline. Even if you don't notice anything in the first couple of days, at least that discipline of standing on there every day cements in your mind what you're trying to do, rather than, well, I'll look at it once a week, right?
That's right. I mean, we firmly believe that there will be a day-to-day correlation between your behavior and what you weigh on the scale. We've seen it in our own lives. And look, if I go out and have a pizza, I mean, that's human. You're going to do that on occasion. I'm probably going to weigh a few more pounds, 2 more pounds in the scale the next morning than I did today. And gaining an appreciation for how individual decisions the day prior affect you on the scale next day, you'll start to see yourself making different decisions. It really is a powerful tool, but it's not the only thing we recommend. One of the things we'd say is, look, the notion of 3 square meals a day has probably outlived its usefulness. Now, we still break bread 3 times a day, but we only have 1 main meal and 2 lighter meals. Right. We have a sedentary office lifestyle, many of us, and if you're in that kind of environment, it's just simply not compatible with the kind of meals that we've been eating. So we recommend, focus on 1 meal a day, not 3, unfortunately. And training yourself to eat less is something that is really part of the big crux of it all. And we try to give you guidance on how we did it.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's better to have 1 good meal and then kind of graze a little bit the rest of the day, eat as healthy as you can, but for smaller meals, maybe 4 or 5 times a day are better for you than having 3 large meals, right?
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because I think we would say we wouldn't advocate grazing, at least. Mm-hmm. For us, we know our propensity to overeat. Right. So every time that I potentially eat, I know I might overeat. I mean, look, if I go grab a bag of chips, I might eat the whole thing, a big bag, right? There's enough, and I know that. So, grazing, things like that, we're not big snacking fans. Maybe have 2 light meals. Breakfast could be a bowl of cereal, a piece of fruit. Maybe lunch is something more substantive, and then dinner, light, something salad, or vice versa. Whatever your meal preference happens to be, that's fine. But only one of them should be significant, and limiting your interactions with food because of this propensity to eat more than you know you should. Look, most people already know that salad is good for them, and that a bag of chips is not, or something, or that a candy bar is not. We as a society have plenty of nutritional education, but despite that knowledge, despite the best intentions to lose weight, we still go astray. And so what we try to do is give you some data, that weight on the scale each day, and some rules of thumb that you really should begin to apply in your life.
Yeah, I should
like
mention
that 1 square meal a day.
You have
3.
You have your 6 core habits, which we mentioned a few already, and then you have the 25 micro habits, and you mentioned a few already. So you really break it down into even smaller habits you should do all day, like forego sugar, artificial sweeteners. I never understood artificial sweeteners. A little sugar is not going to kill you if you have a little bit of it, but I think the sweeteners can be worse for you, right?
That's right. I mean, look, certainly we would not recommend drinking your calories if you can avoid it. I don't think that's rocket science. A lot of people already know it. And again, we think if you're observing your weight on the scale, you'll learn that yourself, that actually makes a difference. But what we would say, though, is absolutely, you've got to avoid the diet industrial complex. So if you are going to have a soda, maybe you want a soda once a week, I don't know, that's fine by us. But have the real thing. Don't have the diet version. We are very confident in the view that most of the things that are peddled to consumers, low fat this, low-calorie diet. I just throw out the window. That's the language of marketing. At the end of the day, it's about consuming less. If you are going to go for a splurge, have the real thing. Don't bother with the diet version. But you can't have soda that often, frankly. If you want to be slim, then people just don't drink soda very frequently.
Yeah, another one of those words, marketing words, organic. Everything in the food is organic, and the store you see is organic now. I'm not sure if that's not another marketing ploy. It might be okay, but that's another one. Instead of diet, right?
Yes, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm agnostic on organic. Look, I have no basis to judge the nutritional side of it. One of the things in the book, for the most part, we really do kind of take an agnostic approach on the kind of food preference you might have. Chris and I, for instance, we like different kinds of food. We don't eat the same thing, but what we do know is that our behaviors are roughly similar. Here's a good example of a behavior that when I was at my peak weight of nearly 250 pounds, I just didn't know that if I'm going out and having a big dinner with my friends, I might skip the lunch beforehand now, or certainly have a very light one. Because when I was overweight, I would go out with my friends and I'd see them eating roughly the same amount I was, and I would say, woe is me, how can they and myself sit here and I'm overweight and obese and they're thin. But the thing is, I wasn't following them around for all of the additional meals that day or the following day. And I think what you'll see is that, look, yeah, everybody can go out and do an occasional splurge, and that's a good thing. That's part of being human, and we highly encourage that. But if you are going out for a good night out with your friends, you've got a budget around it in some sense.
Well, the name of the book is The Economist Diet, the surprising formula for losing weight and keeping it off, and a very unique way this has been done. We've been talking with Rob Barnett today. And Rob, pleasure talking to you. Hopefully we can do it again. Thanks for being with us.
I'm Stan Brock. 30 years ago, I formed Remote Area Medical to help people overseas. But then we found generations of families in America isolated by poverty from the health care they need. Together, we can take dental, vision, and medical help to 1 million adults and their kids, right here at home in the United States of America.
If you'd like to order the book we're talking about, please go to DougMilesMedia.com and enter the author's name in the Amazon search box. Thank you for listening. Please come back soon for more conversations here at DougMilesMedia.com. This has been a presentation of Doug Miles Media, all rights reserved. You can listen to or download previous programs at iTunes, Stitcher.com, or DougMilesMedia.com.